Today, I'd like to talk about the Champions of Elethorn. Welcome, my friends, to the world of HeroQuest, a place unlike any other. This is the Fair Weatherman. Thank you for tuning in and following my channel. So a few weeks back, I saw a Reddit post about a review of a Homebrew character, the Elf Champion. The fandom was torn over the support of purchasing clearly stolen sculpts from Avalon Hill, which I agree isn't legal, but it was a really cool concept. So I thought, how can we create these elf champions without copyright infringement, but still utilizing this really cool idea? And it's almost as if Avalon Hill dropped in these sculpts knowing that there would be someone out there who would take the risk in making hero characters out of them. So I went on eBay and I found someone selling the furniture elements to the Rise of the Dreadmoon that had both statue sculpts in them. In a couple days, they arrived at my house. I couldn't wait to get these things open. I was really curious to see how I can go about modifying these into heroes. I went on Amazon, purchased some really cheap shears. They were like $6. I really wasn't sure how thick that base would be underneath there. But cutting carefully, I eventually got down to the base, realized it was just the right amount of thickness. I know some of you might question why I didn't cut the whole thing off, but I really did feel like if I cut all the way down to the feet, it would really weaken the sculpt. That was already kind of flimsy to begin with. And so keeping it on the base actually worked just fine. So after I got the bases off, I took a little sandpaper out, tried my best to just sand down any edges that were a little bit more difficult to get to, and then we went on to paint. I actually like the classic look of the colors and all my heroes being red, my undead being white, my goblins and orcs being green, and with all the other expansions I really like they've added other colors. I think it makes the board just look really cool and simplistic. And at this point, I'm happy with it. So a little red paint, sprayed these bad boys up. I will say you have to be really careful around the sword and the shield on the male elf because the sword does move along with the shield. And so make sure you get the paint in there. So the creator of the Elf Champion created some really cool cards that surprisingly he's willing to just hand out for anyone to download. He sent me the link. I downloaded them, printed them off on my computer, and they're the same exact size as the Avalon 2021 hero cards. Let them sit overnight on top of something heavy, and then proceeded to cut them out in the morning. You are the champion elf. Your combat mastery is unmatched. Your shield knows 1,000 battles, and you are the master of all weapons. But you don't have the ability to cast spells. Eager to take up arms against any who threaten her company. Traveling from the southern land of Norsk on the Sea of Claws, the champion elf is a hardened warrior. After watching her village burn to the ground by an invasion of longboats full of ravenous orcs, the champion elf made a vow to avenge her people and take up arms against the Orc Chieftain Olag and his army of green-skinned monsters. Her elven troop was deployed to protect the Earl King of Clan Durag at the World's Edge Mountains from the invasion of Skaven and Orc hordes after the king's ancient treasure. She's a good and able hero with a noble soul and a sense of purpose to comfort wrongdoing and fight for what is right. Her skills are unmatched in close combat. I've homebrewed this character to build upon the White Dwarf's Halls of Durgdal quest. Mondor Laboratory didn't have a background for this hero, so I just created one. You can create your own. That's the beauty of HeroQuest. At first glance, looking over the cards, the mechanics are pretty simple. So the heroes start with the shield, boosting that defense by 1 point. Let's see them in action. In this scenario, we have the female elf champion with a wizard and one of our skeletons in the dungeon. On Zargon's turn, he would move the skeleton over to attack the wizard. Throw an attack of 2 on the defense of 2. And in this case, it would hit the wizard. One of the cool features to the elf champion is she can utilize heroism, which allows her, when a monster attacks a hero in a square adjacent to you, this hero can nullify the attack and the monster must defend from 2 body points of damage. Maybe use once per quest. So in this scenario, we've nullified the attack on the wizard, and now the skeleton has to defend against those 2 body points. Blocking 1 and killing the skeleton. One really cool thing that we learned from the reveal of First Light, they are going to add a new mechanic called sly storage. And what this would allow is the first hero of the quest can search the cupboard, and instead of pulling 1 treasure card, you can pull 2. But you have to resolve those cards in order that they were drawn. So in this case, the first card would be gold, 25 gold coins to the elf champion, and the second card drawn, oh, it's a wandering monster. We now have an assassin that typically would attack immediately, but the elf champion has another really cool feature, which is rapid attack. Use this skill when you reveal a wandering monster. You intercept them by landing a 2 damage attack before they may move or attack. Maybe use once per quest. So in this case, the assassin's attack has been hijacked, and the elf champion has now landed 2 damage that it will have to defend, thus killing the assassin immediately. The elf champion skills are very similar to the knight skills, but if you love the elf character like I do, it's a really fun alternative and a really cool concept. I'm now going to demonstrate the last champion skill in another scenario. In this scenario, our hero has came across a dread cultist and a specter. The elf champion's going to move in for an attack. The elf champion's going to attack. The elf champion puts 1 hit on the dread cultist and kills it. Champion's Fury. You can use this skill when you kill an enemy. You may move up to your maximum movement roll and attack again this round. Maybe use once per quest. Because the elf had rolled a 9 earlier, the elf champion can now continue moving to attack again, approaching the specter and attempt to kill it. And with 1 hit, the specter's dead. I really like this double attack feature. When you're on a roll, you're on a roll. Keep on slaying. Now another bit of information we learned about First Light from Gen Con is that it's going to utilize a mechanism where you can search the hearth of a fireplace and regain 1 body point. For the time being, I'm going to call it Fire of Warmth. Against the fire, you heal your wounds and prepare for battle. Now, one subtle thing I did notice in Kurgan's video, I don't know if it was said or not, but when Doug was unveiling the cupboard and the fireplace mechanics, I did see that there was a table there and a bookshelf. And my mind started wondering, I wonder if they're going to incorporate some type of advanced skill with those. I imagine the possibilities of maybe a hero being able to climb up on a table, maybe utilizing 2 movements instead of 1 to get up there, and possibly being able to attack down with maybe an extra combat dice. That'd be a cool feature. I think I've seen some people do that before in Homebrew. The other thing I saw was the bookshelf tile. Maybe we're going to get some type of advanced mechanic over searching a bookshelf and regaining a spell. We really don't know what we're going to get as far as advanced mechanics, but the sly storage, the Fire of Warmth, I'm really excited about this. The fun of HeroQuest is being able to create endless amount of heroes and monsters to throw into your dungeon. And making HeroQuest is just as much fun as playing HeroQuest. Thank you for joining me in the dungeons today. I really do appreciate all my followers. I try my best to comment on your responses, and I really hope that my content is helpful to you. And like always, your very survival depends on your ability to work together. For no true hero stands alone. Come, let the quest begin.